Have you ever wondered why some people from the past and even up to now look like this? Why there are certain oddities in people, and why history likes to hide these certain people as myths, folk tales, and in today's society it is known as a certain rare deformities. Well, a third of the stars fell down with Satan and begat children. These children were called the Naphil and Eljo, which are different from the race of giants that were pre-flood who were from the Watchers. The Watchers produced the giants, which got wiped out during the flood. Satan and the stars produced the Naphil and Eljo, hence why there are still Nephlims roaming around today.
When you go through the Apocalypse of Abraham, do you know it talks about the 1/3 of the stars that fell with Azazel? Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah.
It talks about the stars and the clouds that fell with Azazel. Why? Because they accepted the worship of man. You see?
Indeed.
That's why when you read the Revelation, it said it took 1/3 of the stars. So what we've understood is that now, when you see on maps, old maps, it talks about distant lands, and in those distant lands, there are oddities that live there. Azazel wants his own people, but you have to understand what happened not just before the flood, but after the flood. Different types of dogmen. There's some ranging from Africa into Asia, and it goes up into the north, where the Europeans are, and they all look different. So the ones like in Africa have the hyena face. Those are particular spirits. They're particular spirits. Those are not even like men and women like you and me. They're spirits. Then the ones that are like in Asia, those ones, and going up into the north, those are the ones that you're talking about. They're actually tribes of people. And even during even before the Renaissance, during the time of the Crusades, they used to have trades. They were trading with the church. There's different sets of people that lived in particular areas outside the range of man's civilization. So, for example, there was the monopods. These were the one-legged beings. And there's this one-footed, if you know C.S. Lewis's, I think it's called the Silver Chair. Is it Silver Chair or Voyage of the Storm Treader? And there were these one-legged dwarf people that can make themselves invisible. They're real people because they were catalogued in the medieval time period and even before. And they said, these people live over here. So that's why when you see the old globes and the old atlases, they'll literally show you where these guys lived. And there's all these abnormal, apparitional creatures. These dogmen, they would talk about this. These guys had a very, very hard language to understand. But they were able to crack it in the end. And at first they were warring with them because they said that these dogmen were very savage. But they used to always draw these guys, they were wearing clothes. And had so much interaction with them, one was actually made a Christian saint called St. Christopher. Don't believe me? Go and check it. St. Christopher. And he was supposed to have carried baby Jesus across the river. But then over time, they changed him into a man. But they said he was a giant. No, he was a dogman. And dogmen were giants, ranging from 6'10" upwards. But they used to be inaugurated into the Catholic faith. It's the truth. When they were trading with them, they're trading textiles, trading shells, trading weaponry, all the stuff. And then there's the ones that live in the Americas. Those are the like savage dogmen, werewolves, that kind of stuff. And also those guys branched off into the Eastern European areas. So that's why we hear about all the time. We hear about a lot of unholy things happening in Eurasia. You see, And they hear all the stories about Dracula and there's werewolves. You think it's fairy tales. No, it was a very wild place until man came and started pushing them out. That's why when you go into the newsreels, up into the 16th, 17th century, newsreels, vampires, zombies, werewolves, this, that, whatever, ghouls. And it will be it was so real, so serious, it will be taken to court. Sorcerers, witches, all this type of stuff. Why? Because what does it say about the scion of Lucifer? They inhabit the dark places, they inhabit the woods, they inhabit the caves, they inhabit the forests, the wilderness. That's where they inhabit. So when you go there, don't be surprised. Before you see a bear, you see a Sasquatch, or you see a Wendigo, or you see God knows what. Because that's where they are, because the Almighty drives them out. So these dogmen, they're actually regional. The ones you see in the Americas are the very, very savage ones. The ones I was explaining before. They're very particular. But the ones that you see in Asia, well, Eurasia, all the way going up into Europe, those ones, they're like the Celts or Picts, but they are dogmen. So when you're talking about the ones that grow hair, those are what we call hybrids. You see? You know why Europeans, they grow extra tails? And the doctors cut them off at birth? Or they're unusually hairy? Or they have extra canines growing? Because these Europeans used to interbreed with these people. That's they don't tell you. But they used to draw all these pictures of them, if not warring, they're trading or doing business. Even with the hairy man that used to live in Europe, used to live in Great Britain, hairy man. And they do pictures of when the Romans, up until the Knights, used to be fighting these beings, giant men full of hair, because they used to come and steal their women. You see? Now, where did these guys come from? The situation is this. Azazel wants his own people, but you have to understand what happened not just before the flood, but after the flood. The best book to read is the book of Jubilees, chapter 7 and chapter 11. It tells you, Prince Mastema, aka Lucy, when you go into the book of Jubilees, it talks about the actual races came from the fallen angels. But what people don't realize and understand, due to other books being left out, that people don't even know about or they don't realize is essential for you to understand what the hell was going on in the beginning and what in heaven is going on afterwards, is that the Watchers weren't the only ones that had children. It's just that the Watchers are the most powerful amongst the fallen angels that fell. Azazel isn't a Watcher. Azazel is a cherub. Everybody knows that. You see? A cherub isn't and will never be as powerful, let alone more powerful than a Watcher. Watchers have the name for a very good reason. You see? And they're incredibly powerful. I'll name you 4 Watchers to show you how powerful they are. Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Michael. They're Watchers. People say, oh, but they're archangels. And they're Watchers. Don't believe me? Go to the book of Enoch, chapter 20, first verse. It tells you exactly who and what they are. And when you read their credentials, you say, it's true. Because all their credentials is them watching this particular aspect in reality. Is to watch. It's just that Christianity doesn't understand, because the book isn't for Christianity. It's for God's people. You see? So, the 200 Watchers from Shemiazar down to Kokabel, Amaros, and so on and so forth, these are Watchers. And Watchers are over all the other orders within the heavens. That includes cherubim, seraphim, ophanim, principalities, powers, thrones, the storms, and so on. You see? So when these 200 watches came, the things that they were watching over, they made prevalent on this earth. So Azazel, he's a cherub. He's a different type of beast. And that's why when you see what he was teaching, what was he teaching? War and fashion, violence and vanity. But then who are the 1/3 that fell with him? It's there in Revelations. He said 1/3 of the stars fell with him. We saw it as just being symbolic because we've always took the concept of stars as angels. Yes, but in this case, no. They're telling you stars. It's the stars that fell with him. To be more precise, Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, Aries, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Cancer, Pisces, and the list goes on. All of those star formations, all of those star constellations are the stars that fell with Lucy. That's why we, as men and women, worship them by pointing our birth with their star. That's why when, especially Satanists, witches, occultists, sorcerers, whatever, summon unclean spirits, what do they use? Apart from, well, even on a Ouija board, you must draw a star. You have to. So when you're using a star to summon an entity, it's not for no reason. And that's why there's specific, when it comes to using stars, there's 3 aspects or 3 sigils you use: 5-pointed, 6-pointed, and geometry or geometric sigils. 5-pointed star, everybody knows those ones. 6-pointed star, that's very, very rare. And sigils is even rarer. 5-pointed stars are for the stars. You see? The stars, the constellations, i.e. from Leo to Capricorn. 6-pointed star is for Azazel. You see? So when you see any country or any business or anything that has 6-pointed star, that means in one way or another they're connected to Lucifer. When you see sigils, that means you see geometric lines and elemental inscriptions. Those are what we call demons. They said, well, hold on, isn't it? Demons are more powerful than we realize. So this is why I said that there's 3 levels.